let's go on to heavy sounds, okay? Because there we are. You know, I've, over the past couple of years, again, like I thought I was, you know, a hippie, and it turned out that I'm not. I'm really not into being hippies. I'm not actually even into hippies, truth be told. Soap dodging patchouli wearers. But, you know, I use my fingers a lot. You know, like I kind of like the attack of the thumb. I really got into bass guitar over the past couple of years, you know. I think there's something to be said for that, you know, engaging in that fundamental, like being able to hold it down, you know, and it's like, again, it's like, you know, as I, you know, so graphically illustrated, like basically anybody and their dog can play wanky guitar, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you strap it all high like this, I mean, yeah, dude, I mean, there's not a lot of folks that can't just go blah, 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 and better than me, of course, but I mean, the thing with that is, number one, it doesn't do anything musically for me. Like, I mean, I've probably got like 8 solos in the whole catalog. I mean, I keep trying to fit it in. I'm like, hey, dude, I know how to wank, but it just doesn't work, right? But again, knowing that technique and how to kind of pull it out in context of singing and all that allows me to, you know, participate in musical ideas that, you know, at first, you know, thought might be a little outlandish, but, you know, I can pull them off, so hooray for our side. But with bass guitar, I guess the thing I like about that is it's like, you know, the guitar players are instantly, you get 2 guitar players in the room and it's just a matter of time before they're both over the 20, like staring each other down. But with bass, you're just like, you guys, you know what? Fill your boots. You do what you're going to do, because until I change my mind, we're in C. Enjoy. So I like bass, and I kind of found that the attack that you get with your thumb and your fingers, here, I'll get rid of some of this crappy echo here, is like, you know, I really like that kind of, believe it or not, less is more kind of approach for the clean sound. Like on the record Key I just did, which I'm going to unabashedly promote because I think it sold 800 copies in the first week in America. So, I mean, someone's doing something right. And, you know, with the thumb, you can kind of get that attack. And I use that a lot on Key, you know, just to kind of get that softer sound, that kind of introspective type of shit. And, you know, like, what was one of the riffs? Disruptor, I guess. The see with the thumb. And you go to this funny chord. Funny faces included. It's the 1 harder. I don't know if that was a 1. It is to me. Canadian one. So anyway, you know, going back to the finger sound, yeah, I use it. And going back to Key, yeah, I buy it. So going back to the heavy sound, yeah, I do it as well. And basically it comes down to the way you attack your strings. Like a lot of folks, when they're playing heavy, you know, the trick, you know, of course, you know, I'm, 37, 38 years old. And the first concert I saw was Metallica. I actually saw Johnny Cash, but I won't go into that because that would bore you. The last thing I'd want to do would be to do that. So with the heavy sound, you know, a lot of folks are always just like, you know, the younger generation are like, I want to play heavy, right? So when they play, they're kind of like, you know, they're kind of playing, you know, a heavy sound, but they're hitting the pick dead on the strings. It's like straight up and down, right? But what I found in the old James Hetfield kind of school is that if you hit it on the side and actually let the pick make a lot of the sound, you get that. It's almost like a little scrunch that you do before it. And I found that, like, the difference between it's just going. And I think a lot of it has to do with where you place your beat as well. I've always preferred to play with drummers who are behind the beat, just slightly, still on, but just enough to give it that sense of size. And in terms of recording it, I always find that if the drummer's initially a little behind the beat and the guitars are approximately with that, maybe a little bit further behind the guitars, and the bass is even further behind that, you can have the tempo that you want, but you can actually achieve a larger sense of, you know, I don't know what the heck I'm going to say, a larger sense of something that's bigger. And, you know, sitting back is really the key element, you know, and I think that attack, too, when you're on the side, kind of automatically places you behind the beat because you're where the strings are falling, it's kind of got this, like, lazy attack to it, right? And even when you're doing the heavy stuff there, as opposed to, it's still got that, as opposed to the, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I had any advice to give to young aspiring metal guitar players, I would be, probably learn a trade, because essentially, you're going to condemn yourself to the type of scrutiny that comes from like a really inflated sense of self-importance that comes from the internet, essentially, right? And then once you do fall into that trap, you realize that you're becoming paranoid because you think that the average Joe knows as much about you as some guy who's collected everything you've ever done, and he's one of the 7 people in the world that's done that. And that inflated sense of self-importance, I think, ultimately adds an anxiety to what you're doing and puts you in front of the beat. So, if I had any examples or any advice, just chill out, man. Smell the roses. And if the roses smell like music, get to the studio, sit behind the beat, and go, yeah.